I'm Jas. I am here to show you a bunch of WIPS, my work in progresses, that have been on my needles for the past 2 years now. There's about 10 of these, I think. And if I can remember correctly when I casted it on, I would say so, but if not, they're just in the middle of being finished. The first one, this was casted on like 2 years ago. I was in Taiwan at that time. I kind of haven't been stably located in one location for a while, so there's a lot of back and forth in terms of season because Northern Hemisphere. I'm currently in Australia, Melbourne. Anywho, this is the Harabaji jacket cardigan by Granite, and this is quite a interesting knit because you have to start from the structure of this pattern is starting from the sleeve. You knit all the way up to here. It's the front panel and the back panel. They need to be seamed together over here, which that is a later process. And then you knit, 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 the back panel, you knit, knit, knit. You do the front panel again, and then you're creating that sleeve afterwards, where I am not stuck on, but it requires quite a fair bit of concentration to be able to knit this project because of all the cables and the structure. So I feel like that's the main reason why I stopped it, because I'd either have to have a full hour of some sort to like really focus. Since this mock cable pattern, I've actually done quite a bit of mistakes. It's a 6-row repeat that you constantly have to know, and it's because it's knitted flat as well, so the techniques are different. So it's quite a mind challenging, I would say. Like it requires quite a bit of effort. I remember I proposed to do a knit along 2 years ago with Rowan from Rowan Makes, and then Annie, which I think her handle now is just Annie. It used to be Tuesday, a different account basically, and we had a little group chat, but Bronwyn was so quick with it. I think she finished hers last year, middle of last year, beginning of last year, and mine's still sitting like this. It's so nice though. This is Gepard Woolia. That is a mess of a ball of yarn, which I'll have to tidy it up. I think I purchased 10 balls of these because the yardage is quite a bit for worsted weight, 100 grams, 133 meters I think for 100 grams, so that's quite a bit for a ball, and they're fairly cheap as well. It's quite a squishy yarn, but it still keeps that rusticness, which is really nice. However, I do think it's only just a 2-ply yarn for worsted weight, so it will peel eventually, but I guess that's just kind of with every yarn, right? But I really, really want to wear this jacket. I think I even picked out the buttons at a festival, like a wool fibre festival in Taiwan back then. I just also need to find the buttons, like where I put them, but I still got like, it looks like it's almost finished, but I still have the sleeve and then the collar here, the ribbing for the cardigan, and then the ribbing on the bottom, and then sewing in the front and back. So it's still quite a bit to do. I would say like I'm 60% there, and then the 40% is quite a lot of different things, and I have no idea what these markers mean now, so that's going to be interesting. Okay. And the second project is this fluffy number. It's actually one of my favorite projects as well. It is the Mimi by Junko Okamoto, I want to say. I don't know if that's her last name. I really should have done my research, but I'll put the names and patterns down in the description, if not also on the screen. This is a pattern that's knit flat. So this is the front panel. It's knitted in half fisherman's rib, and then it's got some cabling patterns, cable blocks. Super adorable. And I think also because of the yarn choice that I've had, I put 3 different yarns together, and it's created this really soft fluffy texture instead of the usual fisherman, that kind of pikes out, I guess. But then, and this is the back panel. It's kind of the same thing. It's just, oh no, this is the front panel, and then that's the back panel because this one's deeper. I need to sew these together on the shoulders, which shouldn't be a big job because they are literally just that. This is knitted with like 6.5mm needles, and then just 2 sleeve panels that are also knitted flat that just need to be sewn on afterwards, and voila, it should be done. Sounds like a really easy process, which it is. It's just 2 more sleeve rectangles and the rest of it is sewing. The not downside, but what is hindering me from finishing this is the fact that because it is 3 strands of yarn, 3 strands of different yarn. This is what I used. Melted Baby Suri by Qing Fibre. The colorway is floating, and then the other 2 are actually discontinued. Oops, not focusing. But this is by CaMaRose, and it has a little faint sparkle in there that's not showing up whatsoever. It's a little bit of alpaca, mohair, and polyester, I believe. And then Olann Mills, which shut down last year or the year before, can't remember. It's their just fingering weight sock. I don't know if it's a sock yarn or not, but it's just non-superwashed wool, and it's just a really lovely combo. Very expensive jumper altogether. Like the 3 different yarns, I feel like that's almost like $400 in material wise, because the Qing Fibre Melted Baby Suri was like $200 alone. But yeah, it's a jumper that I want it done soon so I can wear, as it's like super cozy. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like because they're 3 separate balls, I would actually have to, even if I'm knitting on my desk or my bed, I would have to migrate them and make sure they're not tangled, and it's very unlikely that I would bring it outside of my house to knit, like when transporting from place to place or even going to a friend's. It would just be difficult. So that's kind of why it's on hold at the moment. And also I've started using my 6.5mm needles to design something, so that's probably not ideal. These 2 are probably going to be not finished, and this also is like a 2-year project, I think, because I remember seeing Eliza OK wanting to make this pattern, and I was like, okay, I think she started the pattern already and uploaded the video. I thought to myself, okay, I will knit along, so then I feel like I'm like knitting along with someone and potentially I'll want to finish it faster. I think she stopped making it, like she ripped back or something, if I remember correctly, because there was some issue about the yarn that she didn't like, and then I stopped. So Eliza, if you're watching this, are you gonna make it again? But we'll see. The next one, I think it might actually be this one. No, yeah, it's either this or a cable knit. Might be this one. So this is, oh no, actually there's one other one. Completely forgot about this baby. So it's in my redesigned project bag that I got from Qing Fibre, my favorite yarn store in Taiwan. She stocks like everything, like all of the yarn, the Woolia, the CaMaRose Mohair, and this, and then the yarn inside I got all from her. A lot of these are all from her as well. It's just that she has a vast selection in an Asian country. Like I think she has more brands than Walnut, Kyoto and Tokyo, like the Aramisu store, and they're not like the basic brands either. I mean, she's started to import knitting for Olive. Isager, I think Isager is also a little bit, like I think she had a little bit of their mohair. I'm not sure, I can't remember, but anywho, this is what it opens up and looks like. It's so adorable. Oh, this is the yarn. That's the Olann Mills. So this last one is probably, I've got 400 meters for the 2 sleeves and maybe the neckline as well, so it should be fine. Yeah, unfortunately it is no longer in production. I have heard that the mill has been picked up by a different company, so maybe they will have more yarn coming out, just not under the same name. We shall see. This little guy, so it's kind of similar to what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing the cable number 15. It does look like it, but it's a store-bought one. And then I wanted to make my own sweater number 15 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. However, I did not match the gauge, and there's a particular yarn, which is the Lamana Como. Come on, focus. It's a sport weight non-superwash wool that I wanted to use, and in order for it to fit, the gauge was like a lot smaller, which is fine. I also wanted it to be like cropped and like tighter fit to have that Polo Ralph Lauren type of look, and I feel like this color is also very Polo Ralph Lauren. Do people just call it Polo, or do people just call it Ralph Lauren? One or the other. Anywho, the sleeve is a bit long. This is already blocked out, by the way, so this part, because I wanted to make sure that the length is alright and then the sleeve is alright. I've got 3 more balls here, so hopefully that would be enough for the other sleeve. This one's super easy to finish up. It just worries me is that I don't actually remember what needle size I used for this. Maybe it's looking like it could be a 3.75, maybe a 4. I'm gonna hope that on my Ravelry I did leave notes, otherwise it's not gonna look good. I feel like even all of my other ones, the gauge is gonna be off because 2 years ago versus now, obviously my gauge would change, hey? Or at least the other 2 hasn't. Oh, the flat one should be fine, but the harabaji hasn't been blocked yet, so that should also be fine. This is like the 3rd project that I should finish. I think also this one, I'm no longer in a rush to wear it, so then it kind of drops down the priority list a little bit. But this bag, super cool. Like I can just like wear it out, bring it with me. Next one is this one. It is a pullover. I think it's called the 3 Robbers pullover. It's not actually like a sweater because there's a slit, so the back portion is significantly longer than the front part. I mean, you can pretty much adjust this wherever you want it to be, but you're supposed to, or at least in the sample photo, she wore a shirt, like a button-up shirt, or a t-shirt, like a round collar t-shirt underneath it, so it's kind of just like a throwover. I also got this yarn from Tomo. It is the Supreme Tweed, so it's like a tweedy fabric yarn from Majo Garn. I held 3 strands together. I like my fabric quite dense and squishy, to have that worsted weight feeling, because it is a sport weight kind of fingering weight, light sport to fingering weight yarn. Each ball, where is it? I do have one ball in this little pouch over here. Oh, sorry, they're all very ugly, but you can see that they have like red, yellow flecks in there, which is what I like about it. Oh, it's not focusing. There we go. And the meterage is quite long. There's 350 meters in each ball, but I still miscalculated because I'm holding 3 strands together. I ended up having to like pause and wait for, because by the time that I was knitting this, I already flew back to Australia, and there was nowhere for me to get the Majo yarn, because I think only recently have they started to stock more in like bigger yarn stores. Like Arimisu now carries it. I think another Australian brand also carries the mohair from them. Stephen and Penelope carries it as well, but it's just not as accessible as all the other brands. And yeah, I basically knitted up to, I think one sleeve was finished and the body was finished, but I ran out of yarn, so I had to purchase more, hence why this was on hold. I think this would be the quickest out of everything because it's pretty much just this panel left, like the buttons. So this really low gap is because there's going to be 3 big buttons here with ribbing and then a collar in ribbing. Everything else I think I've already finished. So it looks really short at the moment, like the sleeve length, but my arms are pretty short, so that's kind of how it is. And I also have to block this. It would stretch out a little bit more after blocking, which I'm really excited. I do want to wear this, so I do think out of everything, this might be the first one to be finished, just because it's just ribbing. And I do have buttons. Do I? I'm not sure. It's pretty much done though, so I do wear it around the house sometimes when it's like really cold in the morning, and I just like chuck it on top of my pajamas just to keep myself warm. But yeah, this one, hopefully, fingers crossed. The next one is actually a test knit because it was meant to be done last year at the end of like November, I think, but at that time in Australia it was like summer and it was so hot and my wrists were hurting because, as lovely as this pattern is, it's full of cables. So this was a design by Summer over at Summer Knits. This is the Haru cardigan. She has a Haru sweater as well. And yeah, it's a full-on mini cable pattern. So lovely. But it hurts my wrist like I don't want to swear, but because you're cabling every other row essentially, because these cables are cabled on different rows and they required to be cabled every other row. So it's, I don't know how to explain it, but if you buy the pattern you'll get it. It's so close to being finished. I've started the other sleeve, and then I just have the other sleeve left because I've already finished all of the ribbing down the bottom. I finished the double knitted button band, so the longer processes have been done. The sleeve is going to be pretty quick with these like needles, but also because, unpopular opinion, I'm not a fan of Chowgu needles because this has the memory, like it bounces back, like I can't just twist it because it straightens out. So I always feel like when I'm knitting with these it feels very restrictive, and they kind of like pull my wrists, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Oh no, now that I have this I kind of want to knit it when it's in my hands, but I've got so many shades of blue going on here. They're both Isager, the same colorway as well. Oh, and tangled, all of my yarn are tangled. They're Silk Mohair. This is Tvinni, which is the light fingering 2-ply non-superwash 100% wool yarn. I think I didn't miss out anything, but they're both in the color 11. Not me trying to like detangle this at the moment. Okay, it's not happening, but yeah, I'm popping this back into my little otter bag. This one is from Blue Rabbit project bag, and I really like the sea otters, so that's that. I really do want to finish these soon as well, but it's probably, I think it's at the looks of it, it's currently, this is the top priority. The stockinette is kind of like easier and it's just the ribbing. It would then be either the Mimi or this, because I mean this is pretty much self-explanatory. Like the cabling, I don't really have to like think about it too much. The Haraboji is one that requires thinking a lot. The Polo Ralph Lauren looking cable is probably easier as well, but I want this jacket a little bit more than that top. I mean, they're all super like, I'm more than halfway there. I really should just finish them. And look, I have, right now it's August. I quit my job beginning of August, I'm giving myself 3 months to like work out something. I quit my job because I wanted to like work on knitting stuff. I'm working on designs as well. Giving myself 3 months, so I don't know how much time I should be actually focusing on these projects because they aren't really like my patterns, but either way I think it will still be fun to see by the end of the year if I'm able to finish any of these. The next one, okay, now I understand as well, because when I was knitting that test knit, it's gotten really big and I couldn't bring it to work. I was still working at that time. I couldn't bring it to work to knit because it was so chunky. I started this, the Nomad Jacket by Wool & Beyond, and it is the famous jacket that has the honeycomb brioche stitch, and now you can see my mistakes. I think there is a couple of mistakes here, but you start off by knitting this panel over here, and so it was easy to bring around for me transportation wise and on my lunch break to just like knit on it. So that's how it started, and I then found out I really enjoyed this texture. It's not as complicated as it looks. It's quite easy. The only thing is when you're ripping back, if you made a mistake, it's kind of hard to pick up on, so I kind of just like glide over it. At the moment it's on hiatus because there's a decreased bit over here and I clearly fucked it up because that is not supposed to be how it looks. Like, that decrease is just so ugly. I'm gonna have to rip that back and then start from there, and I think only the bottom left is my back piece, and then I can start doing whatever the pattern requires me to do. I really enjoy knitting with this yarn as well. If I can find the rest of it, I think it's that's all how my yarn looks right now. I'm sorry. This is the Rowan tweed. I think it's also like Aran weighted tweed. It's very plump, very bouncy, yet still got that rustic look. I think out of all of the yarns, this is the most rounded one, if that makes sense. Like, it has the most shaping in terms of a yarn strand that is round. Anyway, I don't know who needs that detail, but I just really like that. I much prefer this over the Isager Aran tweed, even though they're both kind of rustic texture. I think because this has a little bit of polyamide in there, it might have changed the texture a little bit and also strengthened the durability of it. So we'll see how it turns out, but I'm loving the look of how it is. It is not focusing. We'll see if it focuses. I must say though, this colorway, it definitely also inspired by Eliza. I remember she picked out the Isager Aran tweed in the grey colour, maybe for the Mimi. I remember her showing it. I just can't remember exactly which project for. I think it was the Mimi, but I really liked, or maybe it's also the Nomad Jacket. I'm not sure, but yeah, the grey, I prefer this grey pebbled tweed as well with the orange and blue flecks. This is, I'm not in a rush to finish this, although I do want to wear it soon. It's just that it's gonna take a really long time to finish it because I literally only have the back panel and I need to figure this out first. So very low on the priority list. I would say like close to Haraboji as well. Might as well finish the Haraboji and then start doing this, so then it's like not too many jackets. I don't know. If you just heard that, my stomach is growling. I kind of am hungry, but I'm gonna finish this first. The next one is fairly recent. I know I should continue with that jacket, but then this pattern came out this year and this was a very unnecessary cast on, to be honest. I did not need to cast on this whatsoever, but I just wanted the jumper so bad. It is the Waffle Loops sweater dress by Other Loops. So she has a sweater version of this with that. Some people made the high neck, which is also really cute, but I liked the fact that this was like an oversized jumper that is meant to be a dress, but I'm probably only just going to wear it as an oversized jumper anyway because I like everything oversized. I don't know what to say about this. This is quite easy despite it looking like there's a lot going on with the waffle pattern, the big cabling, the small cabling. Once you get the hang of it, like right now I don't really need to think much about the repeat. Like I'm not looking constantly, it's just the waffle repeat. So pretty much like I think she's really clever matching the waffle with the inside cabling, so it's only every 4 rows that you're actually doing something. And then of course the bigger cable, you can kind of eyeball it and be like, okay, every 3 sets of repeats, that's when you do the big cabling. Anywho, there's a big story with this yarn as well. This is the yarn. I originally used this yarn for another project, so other loops, twisted loop sweater. And twisted loop I've knitted so many times, but I think the yoke is just too long for me. I have quite a short yoke area and a longer torso, so that just didn't work out for her increases, and I started ripping back and I began knitting this. However, because this is a sweater dress, it requires more yarn, and this yarn I got at a wool and sheep festival last year, which is, it's currently sitting in a bag because it kind of stank like sheep when I first got it. It's not like stinky, it's just I don't want my whole room smelling like sheep, like natural sheep fibre, because I don't think they dyed this either. Sorry for that ASMR, but look how big this is. It's it's bigger than my head. I think this is 500 grams, 495, so we're 5 grams off, but pretty much a big stone. It's by Northeast Yarns. It's just a farm in Melbourne, I believe. I think in Melbourne. 35% silk, 65% wool. And so originally I bought this around 500-600 grams, and I thought it would be enough because usually 600 grams should be enough for just like a normal sweater. And then it's also, it marks its 8-ply DK weight, but I would say it's so plump that I'm using it as a worsted weight and it's fine. Anyways, I ran out of yarn, went on their website and was like, it says out of stock, coming soon, and I just couldn't wait. I don't know when it's coming soon, so I called them. Pauline, who was a very lovely lady, she answered and she said basically this is discontinued and this is their last batch. I mean, there was this and like 50 grams of like a little cake, and I said I would take all. So including shipping, it was only $90, which I find it like quite a bargain for wool and silk yarn. Like, it's just amazing. So now I've got this 500 gram thing, which should be enough for the rest of the sweater, and maybe it would leave me like 100 grams or something to make a beanie, some mittens, I'm not sure. But I did have to put this on hold for a bit to wait for this yarn to come, and therefore I lost a little bit of momentum, and that's why this is like just sitting there. And yeah, I do pick up this quite a bit sometimes now that I've got the yarn here. I would do like maybe 4 rows, which is roughly an hour and a half, and it's just easy while I'm watching a TV show or something. Yeah, I just spotted a fairly big mistake I made. Do you see that cable? I'm not ripping back to fix that, unfortunately. It's just gonna be there. That's just gonna be a sign that it is handmade. Yeah, I wish I could say that that's the last project, but it isn't. Oh my god. This is the newest project that I need to finish because it is another test knit. This test knit is I don't think it's a secret, I just haven't seen her post about it, mainly maybe because it is Northern Hemisphere at the moment. Let me get this out of the way. It is a felted coat designed by Roshi. Her name is Roshi. I think her handle's made by Roshni, not Roshi, Roshni, and this is my left panel. That it's super long right now. I still have to keep going because we're going to chuck it into the washing machine and it's going to felt and become smaller, and I'm very excited to do that. I've never done a felting project before. I'm looking at my swatches over there. There's so many swatches that I did to test out if I liked the fabric after felting, which I also did unspun yarn, but the unspun yarn Manchalope was also really nice, but the blue was a little bit off from this blue, so I was just like, nah, I'm going with this. This is what yarn is this? This is a 14 ply yarn, and I'm knitting it double with a 10mm needle. So Roshni is really good with designing made to measure patterns. I've test knitted her before and it was great, like a summer top, a summer cable knit. I've test knitted twice before. Another one that I didn't finish because I messed up the pattern. But then while I was still trying to fix that one, she messaged me and she was like, do you want to test knit this for me? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, it looks so cool. The idea was so cool. And I also do want like a coat. I've been looking for a double-breasted coat for a while. Haven't found one that I really liked, so thought might as well try making it. I was going to say this yarn, right? This is the Indecita? Is that how you say it? They've changed their name as well to Alpaca yarn, Inca. It's honestly kind of confusing for me, but I got this at another local, not so local to me, I had to travel 40 minutes on the other side of town, but local yarn store called Wonderflex, and the lady was like, she was so funny when I went to the counter to pay for this and I told her what project I'm doing, and she looked at me, she was like, 18 balls of this yarn to felt, that's quite risky. And I was like, yep, it's quite risky. She's like, bring it back if you succeed. Like, to show her. So that's on the to-do list once I finish this. I've got 2 months to finish this. I think the deadline's in October. This is the first front panel. I still have the other front panel, and then I have the back panel and 2 sleeves, so I really should get going. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's just knitted flat stockinette stitch. The only thing is me deciding to use a 10mm is kind of hurting my hands. I think originally Roshni, her sample is an 8mm with drops Alpaca boucle yarn, and it looks really cute. It's got that whole teddy looking feeling to it, but I didn't want like the teddy boucle vibe, so I just went with the Alpaca fluff instead. This is definitely the top priority because it is a test knit. So this one first, potentially that other loops is just going to be a background thing. I do want to finish the 3 robbers. Oh, 3 robbers pattern is by another Japanese designer that on top of my head I really can't remember her name. I'm sorry, but I'll put her in the description. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay, no, 8 is a lot. I also have 3 of my own designs going on the needles over there as well, and it's kind of a lot. And not to forget, I do have like a storm sweater, a snow crocus, and something else. There must be something else also in Taiwan. Like, I've left my knits everywhere. They're like, sometimes I don't even remember I have them, and I don't know where my needles and cables are, so it's becoming a problem. I really need to clean up. I used to be a monogamous knitter until I realized that I can't be bringing like a big project, because I love knitting sweaters. I can't be knitting a sweater on the train So then I started casting on new stuff, and then it just piled up. Now everything's so big, and that's kind of why it's just there. But yeah, thank you for listening to my rant about all of my unfinished projects, but they are gonna be finished one day. I'm hoping that, like, now that I've showcased it to the world, it's gonna be finished, because I'm gonna put pressure on myself to finish them, and then I want to wear them, so that's also another thing. But yeah, now I am going to eat and also edit this video, so ciao.